all things Miami sports related. I am Will.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to 305 Sports Now, and this is 305 Live, and we are changing it up a bit as we are covering today mixed martial arts. Yes, MMA. And I'm going to introduce you to this guest, right? This guest was on this platform 2 years ago when I first started 305 Sports Now, when he was fighting for 305 Fights TV. He's done a lot of good things since then, but you guys like the name, the Notorious One. But let me tell you, he's a big fan of Conor McGregor because he is the glorious one, and that is Christian Esquilin. What's up, Christian? How's it going? It's been a while, my friend.
Living the dream, man. It's been a fun 2 years since we've last spoke.
Yeah, so this is your first platform that you ever were a part of, right? So how'd you feel being introduced to the podcast game for the first time as a fighter?
It's nothing new. It's just talking shop, boosting yourself up. I like to think about it like old school WWE, like like Jake the Snake, like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, all those dudes. So it's nothing new to me. I've always been very confident in myself and very braggadocious when I need to be. But I love the opportunity to talk about fighting and related to that. So I'm always grateful to have that platform as well.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this much. You never lack confidence, because I remember when you first came on the show how big of a fan you were. Well, not big of a fan, but I remember how big of how confident you were as far as your beating your opponent over at 305 Fights TV over in Little Havana at the Manual Center, Manual Arena, Artem Arena. I was a little tongue twisted, I guess, sometimes here. But the bottom line is, so you were very victorious. You dominated that fight, okay, and you moved on. Since then, can you please let the audience and viewers know what have you done since then, since 305 Fights TV?
I've just been breaking necks and cashing checks, man. I fought since our interview. I believe I fought 3 times. Yeah, I believe I had one more amateur fight over at PFL, over at MMA Masters, and then after that was really just getting ready to go pro. That was my main goal after my last amateur fight back in February of 2023. Since then, really just like locked in, trying to go pro, get as good as I can. And when I say pro, I don't mean, and no disrespect to these guys, but I don't mean like regional professional, on like some of these Miami shows. Of course, I have to start there, but I mean UFC level, like championship level. So really just elevating my training to that standard, and then from there just trusting myself when it comes to fighting guys that are also doing the same thing. I fought in the BKFC, the Prospect Series. I don't know if you would be able to believe this, William, but it's very hard for me and my team to find an opponent that wants to fight me. So okay. February and honestly, up until my last fight, which was about 2 weeks ago, there's a whole lot of no's, whole lot of, so we had to, we just had to stay active the way we could. And the way we could is a ton of BKFC guys train at this gym. I'm very lucky to be able to train with them and learn from them just certain aspects of the business that, maybe certain guys that are in MMA or just in a different aspect of the sport may not think about. So it's always a good opportunity to go with them. So that being said, I had the opportunity to do the BKFC, the Prospect Series. I love to fight, I know I look good, but I love to fight more than I get hit. So I try to go in there and fight whenever I can, and any opportunity that seems fun, like I'll make it happen. So the BKFC opportunity came around, and Yeah, why not? It was fun. The only thing though with that, I will say, is the rounds. It's so crazy being used to MMA rounds where it's 5 minutes, um, and then if you do anything else where it's less, it's like you think you would have more of I guess more cardio, but it's more of a sprint. MMA I would say is a lot more of like a marathon, but you BKFC, those are 3 minute rounds and they're going like full speed the whole time. And now with the prospect series, those rounds are only a minute and a half, so like you had to just go in there and start swinging, which is good. Like it's good. Any type of skill that you learn from a fight is good to have. Like you never know when you're gonna need it, but I prefer having like a full 15 minutes to like pick somebody apart for sure.
Yeah, one of my listeners, Juan, by the way, he says, "What's up?" He basically does have a question. Before you answer his question, I want to ask you. But for those who don't know what BKFC means, it's bare knuckle fighting, by the way. All right, so this is he doesn't have gloves on. He's going skin to skin, punching a guy in the face, and so on. I want to ask you something as a fighter before you answer Juan's question. When you're doing bare knuckle fighting, is it evident? Because a lot of people who do bare knuckle fighting, they look at there's brawlers, and there's brawlers. You're a trained MMA fighter, is it easier for you to pick apart an opponent in bare knuckle fighting, even though the time is a lot shorter, or is there more of a skill to it than let's just say knowing how to box and knowing how to cover and so on?
That that's a good question. It's kind of 50-50, honestly, because it's a very fine line. Like you don't want to be too technical. Like there are guys that come in that are just boxers, like really good technical boxers, that try to make the switch to bare knuckle. But in my opinion, seeing what I've seen from just all the events and all the fighters that have come through the gym with bare knuckle, the main thing you need is like really just that willingness to like go in there and throw and fight, and that's more important um, than being extremely like technically proficient. Not saying like, oh, like you don't need technique. That's not what I'm saying. But it's more important to be at peace with, yeah, we're throwing like bare knuckle, we're throwing like for real, trying to hurt each other. Like every punch that you throw is probably going to hurt you and your opponent. So it's a lot more of a mental thing, I feel, than fighting with gloves. Even though it's not much of a jump, but you definitely think about things a lot differently with MMA, or I'll say with boxing. You'll see guys throw a lot longer combinations, and then when you see MMA, it's a lot shorter combinations. With bare knuckle, a lot of the times it's even shorter combinations, just because like it's the room for air in bare knuckle is so small because a jab could knock you out, could end the fight. So in MMA and boxing, you might be more okay. I'll take a punch to land one, but in bare knuckle, I mean, I that's not necessarily something that I would want to go back and forth with my opponent in. Um, a lot of guys, the main difference that I see is the clinch. A lot of guys, because in bare knuckle, the clinch is allowed. Like you can grab the back of the head, you can throw uppercuts,
Oh wow.
ties, stuff like that. Like it's a basically Greco-Roman wrestling without the takedowns, but you're able to throw punches. And a lot of guys don't like really understand that concept because it's essentially wrestling. It's just wrestling, and then a lot of these guys, they come in, they're either boxers or they might be MMA fighters but not really proficient wrestlers, or they might even be street fighters, so they don't have the endurance mainly, and then just the tactics to deal with the clinch. So that breaks a lot of people, just the clinch alone. And then if you do have that dog in you, and then you also are technically proficient, then that's probably the best case scenario.
So Juan's basically asking. You answered it in the first interview we did, but of course it's a couple of years ago, so people may inquire. What got you interested in MMA, and how do you apply it to your daily life?
With MMA, so I believe, finishing my first year of college. Yeah, my first year of college, and I really just got to thinking about what it was I wanted to do with my life, and like what I really wanted to put full effort into. And uh, I wasn't the best at school, but I wasn't bad. Like I was all right. I just didn't enjoy it like at all. Not even like even the classes where I had interest in the topic, like I couldn't sit there and like listen. Like I just didn't have fun. I just didn't have fun like at all. So once I learned that, I figured that out that I wasn't really that good in that type of environment. I just started like reading a lot of books about like just mindset, like and just not necessarily manifesting, but just mindset and just thinking about like what it is like that you want to do and what you want to get out of life. And I kind of just thought, what is something that I can put forth the effort in, like the physical effort, and get actual physical results from. And I had been training since I was about 6 years old, but not seriously. I've been doing wrestling, jiu-jitsu here and there, but that kind of took the backseat to other sports. But then one day I was just sitting there thinking, what's something that I can do, like where I could provide the life that I want for myself and my family. And then it literally just hit me like a random, like literally like a random punch. It just hit me like, hey, you should just do MMA, like take MMA seriously. Because at the end of the day, all you have to do is win, and eventually you'll get where you're trying to go. So once I thought that, it was like almost like I was possessed. I mean, I still am. I'm going about 5 years strong since that day. So since then, it was like I was possessed, and I realized this is like attainable. I mean, Conor McGregor was a huge influence. Just seeing, he was just a guy like me who just decided to start taking it seriously and fighting, and then he got to where he got. So that was probably the main moment I had where I was like, oh, like, well, if he can do it, like I can do it. Like we're very similar in that aspect to how we were brought up and why we're getting started in MMA. So yeah, that's kind of where I got on that whole, like, if he can do it, I can do it. And if I can do it, I can do it better. So just started taking it like actually seriously and being completely unbiased with myself. Like, it's very easy to go to the gym and get beat up and then go home and be like, oh, well, like that guy just had a good day, or like, oh, like this or that. But it was probably like two years of just me like being, I mean, still to this day, like I said, I'm unbiased with myself, but it was just like very, very critical, just trying to get as good as I possibly could to make this happen. But I knew what I wanted to do, and I had my plan laid out. And I feel like that's probably the most important thing with anything in life, is just knowing what you want to do and then setting forth a plan. Because then whenever your mind tries to like deviate you from that path, you know what like you should be doing and shouldn't be doing. So it's very simple. But I just started training. What was it, like 2 or 3 times a day for I couldn't tell you, maybe like 2 years straight, and then I finally got a fight. I had success in that fight. I truly believe in my first 2 fights. I'm a natural athlete, but that was just straight self belief. Like I just like it's not like it's just not possible in my head for me to lose. Like it's uh, like your shirt is gray, and there's no one on this earth that can convince you otherwise that your shirt is gray. So it's like there's no point even thinking of your shirt of another color. And that's the same way I feel. Like now I have the skills to match it and back it up, but at the beginning of my career, it was mainly just like, nah, like I just have to do this. Like I just can't lose. I'd say without MMA, the way it's translated to life is, I mean, man, I can't even honestly say enough about it. I truly think everybody should practice some form of martial art just because of what it teaches you about life. The main takeaway I guess I've gotten is there's nothing wrong with being wrong. It's okay to be wrong in MMA and grappling and boxing. The best way to get better is it's always your fault. Like this guy, he hit me. It's not because he's this much faster, because whatever. It's because it's my fault because I didn't have my defense up, or I didn't slip the right way, whatever. And if you think about things like that, you get so much better, because it's like, it's my fault this guy hit me, so I need to work on my defense so he doesn't hit me next time. or this guy choked me out. Well, it's my fault. I gave him that position to be able to find that submission. So that has just helped a lot because it just allows you to grow, whether you're like out in the convenience store or whatever, and someone is being rude to you. It's not necessarily like your fault. Like, oh, like I need to like bow down. No, no. But it's like, well, like they might be having a bad day, and like, do I really care? Like, like I don't. Like, I don't need. It is what it is. So, I would say that, and then also it just the main thing is the more you learn how to fight, the less you want to fight like outside of a gym or a ring. Like my thing is like I don't fight for free now. Like I'm not gonna fight with some guy in the street or it doesn't matter. None of that. Like it doesn't matter, and it's. I got paid too well by Double Down FC for me to fight some random dude out in Brooklyn. I don't need to, and no, it forces you to be very self-aware and very unbiased with yourself if you truly want to get better, and even the people that may not know that they want to get better. After you get choked out a few times, or after you get punched in the face a few times, you start thinking like, "Damn, like I need to fix something." So, I owe a lot to MMA, for sure. I'm very grateful for everything that it's taught me. But at the same time, MMA knows that I'm coming to take over the game, so it's a mutual respect.
Well, thank you for sharing all stuff and opening up about the fight game and so on, and the humility is taught you as well. Because I mean, you like to talk, but you're very humble about yourself. You're very self aware, and you understand your strengths, limitations, and things you need to work on. Which a lot of athletes, unfortunately, don't understand that. They think that they're just good at everything, don't need much coaching. But going into a little bit more of what you're saying, you made some changes. Okay, you signed with All In Management Group. Okay, signed an All In Management Group. You had a fight recently that you won in 30. You fought at 155 and you won in 30 seconds. Can you take us? Can you take us into that fight a little bit of what happened? 30 seconds. That's really short. You pretty much demolished the guy. So can you tell us a little bit of what happened in the fight and take us through it?
Yeah. So, like I said, from February to now, like it's been very difficult to find me fights. And I've said it before. I don't want to beat the dead horse, but I cannot blame any of these guys for not winning. It is, but I see myself like in fighting UFC caliber guys as well. So I don't care that guys from whatever local gym around here don't want to fight me either. Like it's fine. I'll see them when I see them, and if they want to get to the show, they're gonna have to fight me one way or the other. So I'm not worried about them. So they can keep worrying about me. I for this Double Down fight, where is he from? He was an experienced guy. I mean, it's just mainly about finding the right opponent. I don't. It's not that I couldn't handle some guy that's 10-0 right now. It's just that what's the point of me taking that hard fight? There's really not much to gain. So just took a guy. I believe he's from New York. He was a boxer. Was 0-2 at the time that we fought, but he had some good experience from a couple different fight promotions. I didn't do too much research on him. I do like to study my opponent if it's there, but I prefer more to worry about myself. I think, you want to see tendencies, you want to see things that you can maybe exploit, but at the same time, I feel like it's more important to focus on the training that you're doing in order to be ready for whatever the fight is. It's more about you controlling the fight as opposed to reacting to what the other guy's doing. So luckily, Cornelius, he was willing to fight. Shout out to him. And my main thing with fighting is with every fight that I have, it's like you're chasing almost like you're chasing the dragon a little bit, like you want to perform to what you're capable of. And the thing with me is I can sit here all day and tell you, oh, I'm UFC level, I'm going here, I'm doing this, like I'm the best. and I don't care if you or anybody watching believes me or not, because I want the opportunity to show you. So then it's you can't even question whether you believe it or not. You just, yeah, it's a fact. So I'm not gonna lie, a little disappointed that it ended so quickly.
Okay.
I like to fight. Like I like to fight. So I wanted to show off a little more of my skills. Um, but I would be lying to you if I were to say that I didn't think the next 4 or 5 of my fights would go the same way. Uh, I mean, like I said, when I tell you like I'm on another level in just how much I believe in my training and myself, it's not to prove anything to you. It's just to tell you like I'm gonna do. I said this, so I'm gonna do it. Um, it was a good experience. You know, I felt very strong. I felt very relaxed. For my fights, I try not to think um, too much about really anything regarding the fight until I'm literally in the cage and the fight has started. I feel like it's just as bad to think, oh, I'm gonna go in there and throw this punch or this kick and knock him out, as it is to think, oh, what if he throws this and knocks me out? Because you don't know. You have no idea. Like in the one clip I had saw of my last opponent, he came out very slow, like very non-aggressive. But in this fight, he came rushing out immediately. You know what I mean? So, like, if I had been like, oh, he's gonna come out super slow, you know, and had gone with that, when he comes out super aggressive, that changes the whole thing. And a lot of guys don't really know how to react to that on the fly. But the main thing is, what I need to do is just garner the experience of being a professional and just become very comfortable being a professional. Like, as cool as it was to have fought for 30 seconds, I want to fight a full professional round, just to feel that. But yeah, it's mainly just getting the experience and getting comfortable in order to move up to the UFC and start doing the same thing there, going down the list of, whoever. Um, this fight was at 55 literally just because nobody would fight me. I don't even fight at 55. Like, I did for fun, kind of, but I fight at 45 and 35. But, and I'm not going to mention any names, but there were guys on that card that said no to me. So I'll let them, shine it because there's enough for all of us, but they can have the droplings from the glorious. But no, I'm just excited. I am excited to see who I'm gonna fight next. If I had trouble finding guys before this fight, so I don't think moving up 2 weight classes and finishing the guy in 30 seconds is probably gonna help with finding guys that want to fight me. But you never know. I guess maybe if I call these dudes out enough and and bash some heads and break a few nerds' glasses and whatnot, we can maybe these guys will get mad enough and actually want to fight me. But I'm doing the training. I'm not saying this just to stir the pot. I'm doing this because I'm stirring the pot, but I know how to cook. I know how much seasoning we need in that pot. So I'm very excited for whoever they put in front of me. I've already. I don't believe we have any set opponents yet, but whoever it is, I've already been in contact with the local mortuary, and I've had them start compiling letters to send out to different families for. It will be a black tie affair. There is a formal dress code, but black tie is preferred. So we're just waiting. We're just waiting for the call.
You got that WWE promo thing. Nice, man. Nice, man. A little subtle, but you drop it. You drop it very good. Going into weight classes, I don't want to ignore Juan's question. When you're between fights and you have to either go up in weight or go down in weight, what's the process like as far as your training and nutrition goes?
Well, for me, it's different. It's a little different. Like I saw that he asked about like off season as well. I wouldn't necessarily say that I have everybody, if any of my opponents or any prospective, opponents are watching, I take breaks all the time. I'm chilling at the beach. I go to the pool. I'm drinking, tequila all the time. That's I barely ever train if any of my opponents are watching me. But if Juan wants to know how much I train, I would say I don't necessarily have an off season. I like to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I don't think I think if you like take time off, like you're already putting yourself at a disadvantage because like it doesn't matter if you take like a week, if you need injury time or like, just take a step back, that's a different thing. But you're taking time off to like do nonsense. Nah, I'll see you later. Because like I want, like I said, everything I say is for real. Like I love to fight, and I don't care about anything else other than fighting and being the best fighter in the world. So like, what do I need to go do anything else for? Like if I'm not, like I'd rather just be training, getting ready for a fight, staying in shape or whatever, something moving me forward towards the UFC. Like I don't need to go 3 times a day every single day if I don't have a fight. But like, nah, like I'm still in the gym every single day, training. In terms of eating, like when I have a fight, like when I'm getting closer to cutting weight, yeah, okay, we have to like tone it down a little bit. Like I don't know, like it depends on the weight. If it's 45, then I really only need like a week or so, maybe like a week and a half, and that's really just water weight. Obviously, like when I get closer to the weigh-in day, like I'll like eat like obviously smaller portions and just smarter meals, but uh, I only need like a week and a half, and it's pretty much just cutting water weight. And then for 35, it's about like 2.5 weeks, but it's the same
Okay.
thing. But I pretty much just eat like steak, like eggs, bananas, like yogurt, just like the chill, like normal stuff. But I will say I do love Coca-Cola. That's a week. Coca-Cola. That's so good. But that's about it. And Chick-fil-A is pretty good too. But
Yes, it is.
Chick-fil-A is pretty good. But we gotta be careful with them. We gotta be careful with them. But
Yeah, but I
maybe
mean, name a hot summer day though, man. Coke is fire, man. It really is, especially when it's really hot outside.
apparently I've been told like it's not bad for after training, like recovering like sugar or something like that. All they said once they said yeah you can drink Coke, like I was like all right, like I got an cool.
Well, it's 45 grams, Chris. So yeah, I can understand the sugar recovery. It's 45 grams, if you drink a can of Coke. So
I train, I enjoy my can of Coke, but I mean luckily like with how much I train, I can genuinely like pretty much eat whatever and drink whatever. Like you still like to feel like you feel better when you're eating better food, and you train
yeah.
better. Obviously, you don't like I don't go too crazy.
Okay. The process. I know the goal is eventually to get to the UFC. You have some amateur fights on your belt. You've had you're going pro as well. You're testing the pro waters. You're in the pro waters. Before I get to the UFC, I saw a picture of you on social media of Combate Global. I know Combate Global because I'm friends with Rodolfo Roman, who's actually being a ring announcer for one of your fights at 305 Fights TV. I've known Roman for years. Any rumors of you signing with them? Fights with them? Any collaboration with them? Come on, give us the deets, man. Give us the deets.
Yeah, I can't speak too much on that. That was top secret classified for now.
Spill the tea, man. Come on, spill the tea. Come on, a little bit of tea. Give us a little bit of tea.
The best I can say is Combate is known. They've known about me for a few years. They've wanted me for actually like before I was even like ready to go pro.
Mm-hmm.
I like Combate. I like the platform. Uh, I don't want to say too much, but as of now, I'm not with Combate. I'm not signing with Combate, but in the future, I have my eyes on something.
Okay.
I have my eyes on something. But I was there the other day, or yesterday, excuse me. I was doing something for Fuse TV with them. So if you watch Combate, or you watch Fuse TV, and out of nowhere you just see a shirtless Glorious in the combate cage. That's what I was working on. That's what I was working on. Other things.
All right. All right, cool, man. Cool. All right. I'll let you off on that one. UFC, my friend, for people who want to get into the fight game, for people who are fight fans, what is the process of reaching that level? What exactly are they looking for? Is it connections? Is it just scouting? I mean, how does a fighter like yourself that started off, in a small arena, Little Havana, get to basically hopefully one day fight in Madison Square Garden or Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas?
Well, I mean, I don't want to be like a poser because I haven't done that yet. So we'll have to reschedule another interview in about like 3 years when I've done it. I'll tell you how it feels. But what I can say is, from my experience, I mean, you have to be just as good at talking as you are at fighting. And if you look as good as me, that really helps. But not everybody is is blessed with these skills and the looks of the Glorious. So, but it's really, I mean, fighting is very important. But I mean, and it's not even to be funny, but like there are guys that are really good fighters that are on the undercard of UFC fights because they like can't speak English.
Okay.
That sucks, but that's just how it is. And then same thing, there's guys that can speak English, but they'll get on an interview or a podcast with you and be like, "Oh, I'm game to fight. I'm ready for anything." Like just very generic MMA like loser answers. And I mean, they have how many guys are signed to the UFC? They have probably like at least 75% of them are like that. In my experience, because I've been a fan of fighting for so long, if you're gonna buy a pay-per-view or if you're gonna invest time or buy tickets or whatever, like be a fan of some guy, you don't want to be a fan of just some like random guy that you would see on the street. Like you want it to be almost like a superhero like figure. Like Conor McGregor, Sean O'Malley, Adesanya, all these dudes like entice people is just because of their figure, their status, their persona type of deal. I think that's very important, but I think now the game's kind of changed to where like everyone feels like they have to put on some sort of persona. And I mean, that's cool if it works for you, but I feel like that's got to be super tiring, at the end of the day. For me, and I've always felt this way, I know that I'm going to be in the UFC for reasons other than fighting. I've watched fighting, or I've watched the UFC, I've watched the prelims, I've watched guys in my division, and it's, like I said, completely unbiasedly, I see the flaws in their game. I see opportunities for me to exploit different counters and different scenarios. And I wouldn't be saying any of this if I didn't want the opportunity to prove it. If I were to just say this and then not keep doing the work that I'm doing to get to the UFC, I would just be a hater at the end of the day. Not what I am at all. I have respect for those guys for getting there on the business side. But the way I feel is I just need the opportunity to show that I'm right, that I'm correct. And you put a mic in front of my face, you put me on a podcast, we'll make a show happen as well. I can do a pay-per-view off that alone, but I prefer to fight. When you mix those two together, it makes something that I think a lot of people are excited to see and excited to get behind. And the main thing is a lot of guys have kind of gotten it twisted where if you talk a big enough game, you can get opportunities that your skills don't necessarily match up to. But I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna talk the most shit out of anybody, call out whoever, because I'm not. It's a singular sport. I'm not here to make fun of anyone in my division. Why would I be in that division? That makes no sense. So I'm gonna go out there. Hey, you have the belt. I'm taking it. It's mine. I don't care. Take that belt. But the thing is, when I say that, I have the skills to back it up as well. And I crave the opportunity to show you that I can do that. It's not that I just want to go up there and talk shit because I'm not a comedian. You know what I mean? I don't practice stand-up comedy. So everyone's very confident in the UFC, I imagine. But everybody breaks. Everyone has their breaking point, and then on top of that, a lot of people can't deal with the showmanship of the going back and forth with your opponent. I've been I've been dying to do a press conference since like my third amateur fight. Like just like if I could have the guy I'm fighting across stage from me and we get to talk back and forth, oh my god. Like I would. The last fight was 30 seconds, and I didn't even get to talk to the guy beforehand. I didn't even get to see him. If I get to talk to the guy, he might actually shit himself and slip walking into the cage, and that would be the end of the fight. We wouldn't even get to start it. I am just like so sure of myself because those big opportunities that separate like the UFC from the small regional promotions and the big fights from the little fights are like what I crave. Like that's like the main thing I want. I think the more you risk, the bigger the reward. So I think I've always aimed high, and I always feel like with no matter what it is that I do, like if you're gonna do something, you need to be the best at it, and you need to put like all your effort into it. So it's no different with fighting. It's no different with the business of fighting. I've been studying it for a long time. It's like anything else. You can study something and understand. So I've been studying it for a long time, and now it's really just I'm gonna kick the door down and start taking over little by little.
Okay. Well, that's good, and that's the kind of confidence you need, especially in a sport like MMA or mixed martial arts, because that's what you need. You need the confidence, especially with your skill set. You don't have to wait 3 years to come on, man. You can come on whenever you want, especially if you're promoting a fight. You go up promotions, doesn't matter, man. I'll have you on. Do live. This has been great. I'm sure you. Like I said, we're talking off camera. You're a natural, brother. I mean, you really are. So you're very good at the interview game, very good at the media game, very good at talking and so on. And you're different because you're not shouting off a microphone and sounding crazy. You're soft spoken, and then you'll throw your dig in. So I think that's a good thing. That's a good thing as well. Chris, before we sign off, let us know where you can find you, your social media handles, and let us know when you might have a big fight card coming up real soon, so we could attend or watch via stream, whatever the case may be.
For Instagram, you can find me at the Glorious PR, on Instagram. T-shirt. Do you want a Glorious T-shirt? We got Glorious T-shirt. GloriousMMA.com. TheGloriousMMA.com. It's pretty simple. When you think of MMA, you should only think of the Glorious. So you put. And then what else do I have? Oh yeah, I'm fighting in September. Double Down FC. We're back here in Miami. I don't know. If you're an MMA fighter and you fight at 145, you fight at 135, you better pull your blankets up over your eyes when I walk around, because I'm super excited to fight. I don't give a fuck who they give me. I'm sorry if I can't curse, but it doesn't matter. I said in my interview, what was it? It doesn't matter. Anybody, anywhere. There are people on the card that didn't want to fight me, and they're calling out guys that I already beat. So I'll take the tomahawk ribeye steak, and they can have the chicken feet and all of that. Excited for whoever they give me. It doesn't matter. I know. One thing is, none of these guys are talking like this. None of these guys have this confidence in themselves, even if they have more fights than me. And the thing is, I'm very soft-spoken in real life as well, trust me. But if it came down to it, I would look someone in their eyeballs and tell them that I would drill whatever part of my hand, foot, knee, or elbow through their face if I wanted to. So I hope I rile some people up. I hope I get some people that, I want to fight this guy, and then I can show them how much of a clown they are. I can tell them that the Glorious circus is hiring. Whoever they give me, like I said, I told him after my last fight, I said, give me Brock Lesnar. I said, I want tell Dana to give me Brock Lesnar, but I don't know if we'll be able to make that fight happen. Hopefully, but we'll see.
You would have to gain a lot of weight, young man.
I'm too fast. He's very strong, but it's a speed thing. I
Oh,
don't.
okay. All right. I like it. I love it. I love it. Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. All right. Follow Chris at all his social media handles and look up his fight, hopefully in September. Double down, right? Know the name, the glorious one, Christian Esquilin. He is an up and coming fighter, and he definitely will be a success. I've seen the young man in the cage myself, and he's very skilled and very talented and very polished as well. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you heard, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to 305 Sports Now. Have a wonderful day, guys. Stay safe. God bless. See you soon. I'll have some upcoming shows for you. Bye, guys.
Hell yeah.